Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is greeted to Gen Vincent K. Commander of U.S. Forces Korea, as he arrives at Osan Air Base in Pyeongtaek, South Korea, on June 13. Jeon Heon-Kyun pull EPA-EFE Shutterstock. After President Trump met with North Korea's Jong Un in Singapore this week, the two world leaders agreed to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. However, the two leaders did not announce exactly how they would do so. The document they signed, less than 400 words long, had few practical details about how North Korea would actually get rid of its nuclear weapons. To some observers, this is a major problem. But Secretary of State Mike Pompeo does not want to hear the criticism. Speaking at the Hilton Hotel in Seoul on Wednesday, Pompeo was asked whether North Korea's denuclearization would be verifiable and irreversible, a phrase that the secretary himself has used in describing what the United States saw as an acceptable way for North Korea to get rid of its weapons. Here's how Pompeo responded. According to a State Department transcript, in his remarks, Pompeo suggests that, though the words verifiable and irreversible do not appear in the agreement reached by Trump and Kim, they are implied in the word complete in the third point the pair agreed to, reaffirming the April 27, 2018, Panmunjom Declaration. The DPRK commits to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. In the past, U.S. officials have repeatedly spoken of the need for complete, verifiable and irreversible dismantlement on North Korea's nuclear weapons program, a term so widely used that it has its own shorthand acronym, CVID. Neither the United States nor North Korea have spoken publicly about how Pyongyang's denuclearization would match that standard. Though North Korea took the unilateral move of demolishing a key nuclear weapons testing site last month, it did so without the presence of international, expert observers at the scene. Some experts have their doubts that any denuclearization process initiated by Pyongyang could realistically meet a standard of irreversible. Nobody is suggesting that North Korean nuclear scientists leave the country or they be shot, Robert Galluci, a former U.S. negotiator with Pyongyang, told the Korean Times last month. Anything that has been built and has been dismantled can be built again. Though the rest of his news briefing in Seoul was less contentious, Pompeo returned to the idea that critics were misunderstanding the nature of the agreement a number of times. Noting that he himself had met with Kim and other North Korean officials multiple times, he said he was confident they understand that there will be in-depth verification. Pompeo also acknowledged that, while the Trump-Kim statement was brief, there was more work being done behind the scenes. Not all of that work appeared in the final document, but lots of other places where there were understandings reached, he said. We couldn't reduce them to writing, so that means there's still some work to do, but there was a great deal of work done that is beyond what was seen in the final document. That will be the place that we'll begin when we return to our conversations. More on worldviews. Was the Trump-Kim summit a huge success or a colossal failure?